welcome to the fleet. This is where you come after you finish your starter planet. It's one of those places where you wouldn't think you would get very much out of it, but if you know where to go and what to do, then you'll get some unexpected experience out of it, and I have a few pointers for us to talk about. Imperial fleet and the Republic fleet are exactly the same except for they're mirrored. So everything is flipped over on the other side. This is the Imperial side. And then on the Republic side, everything will be kind of flipped over. But basically, when you first come in to the fleet, you'll see this quest hub right here for priority missions. But for right now, before we get started with any of that stuff, we're going to pick up the tutorial for the crafting trainers. Now, I just wanted to kind of give you a heads up that with the crafting trainers, you don't necessarily have to pick a craft right away. You can wait. This is purely for getting experience. So, get that quest, then you're going to head to your left, and your crafting trainers are going to be right here. And if you want more information on crafting and what you can make and the different benefits for each of the crafting types, Volk or Swarista are really good references for that. So this is what we're going to do. We're sitting right here in front of Synthweaver Girl. This is the way I recommend you do this. Right click on her. It's going to bring up this message box. And instead of pressing train right now, stop and go to cancel instead. You'll notice that when we right clicked on her, it actually gave us a little bit of experience. The reason we don't train right away is because each time you interact with one of these crafting trainers, it gives you a little bit of experience. But if you train in if you train in that very first one, then you're not going to get the extra experience. So you cancel out with her, you come to the next one, right click, she gives you 500 experience points or whatever. If you're running a bonus, it'll give you more. And you just keep doing that with everybody. Right click, cancel, and right click and cancel. And we're going to go all the way around the room. And then we're going to go to the next room because the same can be said for the gathering trainers. So in addition to being able to make stuff, then these are the guys that you train to gather the materials to make those things with. So you just right click, cancel, and then there's 2 rooms of these guys, so you just keep going around until you've talked to all of them. Oh, she's not a trainer, she's a cell person. Alright, so now that we've got all these people, then what you're going to do is go back to the first room. And this next step, you pretty much will pick whichever one you want. It doesn't even matter. Like, you could even pick this gal and then you don't really want to do synth weaving, which is fine. You don't have to, but just pick one and train with that person. So right click on him again, and then this time press train. She'll give you a bunch of crap. And then what you want to do now is click her again. Because now it will give you the update to the quest, and you get an extra nearly 3k experience points. Now let's say, for example, you clicked on her, you made a mistake, you didn't want to, you accidentally clicked on her and you didn't actually want to do synth weaving. You go to your crew skills, which is hotkey B, And you'll see right here, it brings up this window, and it's got this little X right next to the 1 to 600. Just click on that, asks you if you'd like to, you say yes, and it's gone bye-bye. And then you can go up to any of these other trainers and train with one of them, or you cannot train at all. But overall, you gained about, well, I guess I could do the math, but I don't want to. But, you know, 500 experience points times 10, so 500, 5,000. Anyway, all right. So that is one way of getting just a little bit of a boost of experience. It's especially helpful if you are just hanging on that edge, and you don't have quite enough experience. It'll pop you over the edge, right? All right, the next thing I want you to be aware of when you are on the fleet is we are going to upgrade the gear that you either didn't get or had gotten on your starter planet. Starter planets are notorious for providing like the least minimum useful gear ever. Other than doing the heroics on the planet and you getting those blues, pretty much everything else is crap. So we want to at least give you a heads up, or a leg up, I should say, before you head into either going to your next planet or for doing the Black Talon or the Essos Flashpoint, which we will discuss in the next video. So now what we're going to do is we are going to go over to the upper left-hand side of the fleet onto the supplies area, because we are going to get ourselves a set of moddable gear, and then we're going to mod it up. If you had looted everything on the starter planets like I recommended, then you should have plenty of credits to purchase not only the set of gear, but then also you should have plenty of credits to buy the mods to go in said gear. So let's see. You're going to come to, in the supplies, we're going to come to the first room, and we're going to visit Mr. Man right here. What's his name? Captain Thanar. Alright, so if you can see his list, he's got a bunch of stuff. Technically with moddable or otherwise called adaptive gear, you can pretty much, unless it says specifically that it is for a particular class only, you can pretty much buy whatever gear you want. If you want to be a Sith Inquisitor and look like a smuggler, you can do that if you want. But basically what you want to do is find some gear on his list that you like. The other place that you can find moddable gear, though you'll have to pay for it in real money, is on the cartel market. And they have a bunch of options, gear sets that you can buy using cartel coins. You just have to look through them, but basically what you want to do is you want to find a set that you like the look of. You should have enough credits to not only buy a set of moddable gear, but also the mods to go in them. Now if you notice here, the 600 credit gear already has mods in them. If you hover over it, you'll see that the armoring, the mod, the enhancements, they're all full. Just ignore those because we're actually going to be buying a slightly better set of mods right now. So boots, wrist, they call this a focus or an offhand, gloves, head, you can buy a lightsaber, I guess. I already have a moddable lightsaber, so I'm not going to worry about that. Legs, and a sash. We're not going to get too heavy into the theory of mod statting, I guess. I don't know what they call that. Basically worrying about what stats you need to worry about over others. If you need more in-depth information about that, then just go ahead and go to Volk or Swarista's websites. They've got expansive guides for all of that information. For here, we're just trying to get you set up so you can continue on in your quest line or to the beginner flashpoints. For most DPS classes, the things that what I usually buy are critical, accuracy, and alacrity or speed. For right now, we're just going to make sure to mod out each of these individual items and make sure to go through and hover over each of these to make sure you're getting the ones that you want. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy all the mods that I would normally buy if I didn't have those blue pieces, and then you can kind of adjust for your own needs for the pieces that you do end up purchasing yourself. I would suggest buying a full set, even if you've got the blue pieces from the heroics, just because eventually the gear level will not be sufficient and you'll want to upgrade. So right now, the gear rating level right now is 32, whereas these mods that we're about to buy are level 38. Alright, so for me, on my sorcerer, we're going to do 2 mods, or 2 enhancements of critical, and then I fill the rest up with accuracy, because you can't kill anything if you're not hitting it. I think that's enough. We can always come back if it's not. With the lethal mod, I just go with the mods, I just go with the balanced ones. So I buy just the lethal mod 5s, not the 5As or the 5Bs. And then for my lightsaber, I buy a versatile hilt that gives me additional mastery. The other hilt is a resistive hilt that's more for tanks, gives you a bit more endurance. And then for everything else, we buy the versatile armorings. So we're gonna buy a bunch of those. Okay, that should be enough. Now, the way you equip them is you hover over the piece that you want to update, you press Control, right click, and that'll bring up this little spot right here, and then all you do is drag and drop. Yes, got your mod, and got your enhancement. And you just click on that, and then you do this all the way through. Just drag and drop. And don't freak out that these are going from blue to green. What you're really looking for is the adjustment of the numbers going up rather than down, rather than the colors necessarily. Yeah, it can be a tedious process, but listen once you get into that, because let me finish this before I mention how this will work through the rest of those your leveling periods through 70, I want to say. This will be useful. You don't necessarily have to drag and drop, you can just right click as well.
For you.
And if you happen to over purchase on your mods, you can just sell it back to him, and I believe he'll give you back what you paid for him. All right. This guy sells level 10 modifications. That's the start of when you can start modding your gear, right? Then it goes to every 4 levels. So until you turn level 14, you won't be able to buy these mods. But every 4 levels, you can come back to the fleet, upgrade these, and it always keeps your gear at a level that is appropriate for where you're fighting and what you're doing. Your eye level for you, if you keep up to date with the modding of the gear here on the fleet, you won't be under geared, and it'll keep you slightly but not seriously over geared, if you understand what I'm saying. You'll see modification stations around the fleet and such. You don't necessarily need those to mod your gear. What you will need to use those for is if you need to add an augment slot to them. And I won't be getting into augmenting right now because honestly, from about now to level 50, you'll be leveling so fast it really won't make it worth the expense to do augmenting. It's also a good idea if you are using a weapon to either purchase off the GTN or the cartel market color crystal, because there'll be ones with a plus 42 to your, I believe there's a bunch of different ones. You get to update the color of your lightsaber or your weapon, but you can also bonus stat out this particular part. You don't have to necessarily stick with this little itty bitty one. And that's always a good idea to do, but I won't do that right now. One other thing I wanted to mention before we move on to the last step is talking about appearance gear. Like this is Sorcerer's starting gear. I actually really love it. I love the way it looks, and then I made it so that my companion matches me because I'm weird like that. But I love this look. But if I were to get a different type of gear, like say I change out my gear, all of a sudden she's going to have a different look, and I may not like it as much as I do the other look that I had. Thankfully, this game makes appearance gear really easy, and it doesn't break the bank like some games that I know, called World of Warcraft, that charge you out the yang for having appearance gear. And if you press your character button or hotkey C, where we've been looking at, brings up what you look like, your gear looks like at the moment. But if you want to have an appearance on your gear, you click on the Outfitter tab, and then what you will do is you will make an imprint of whatever gear set you want for your character here. Now it is an upfront cost, so it's sort of like stamp, okay, now here, give me 5,000 credits. But once you start updating the gear in here, whatever it is here is going to stay the same look. Hopefully that makes sense. Now let's say, for example, you're on the GTN and you want to find a specific look for gear, but you don't want to buy the piece just to see what it looks like on her. No worries. You press Control and left click on the item, and it'll bring up a window and show you what it will look like on your character if you chose to imprint that as part of your look, right? So here she looks like with that particular chest piece on. All of these pieces, even ones that aren't moddable, all have down here in this corner a place called the dye module. So let's say, for example, you really like the look of this particular set that I've got here, but you'd prefer that to be in yellow. That's not a problem. So we're going to click for dyes. Let's choose some hideous combination. There's 3 different types of dyes. There's a primary, which will color anything that's a primary color on your gear. There's a secondary, which will cover the bottom, I guess you could call it, colors on your gear. And then there's the dual color dyes. So let me give you an example. This one's deep brown and white dye. You do the same exact thing. You do a Control left click, And it will show you what that red outfit would look like if it was white and brown. Not my favorite, but you know what I'm saying. So if we just wanted to color, like, say maybe the bottom part of her outfit green, that's what that would look like. Or pale brown. Let's try secondary pale brown. That one's not too bad, but definitely not sippy looking for sure. So you could sit here on the GTN for hours messing around with the different color schemes and the looks that you get with each of the gear, and I personally find it fun. Me and my friends call it playing Barbies because it's literally like playing dress up for hours. So that is the basics on appearance gear, and I could probably do a whole video all by itself going over the different things that you could do. That just gives you a basic, especially if you do not like the way things look. Okay, couple last things that I want to go over before we are done with the fleet for today is a couple of random tidbits. There are lore items on the fleet, meaning there are clickable things that give you a little burst of experience, and you should be on the lookout for those. I'm not going to go over all of them, but I am going to show you where one of them is. I believe it's just, yep, it's right here, right above where you're going to be going down to get into your, either to go to your next planet or to the starter flashpoint. Right here, click on that. I think it gives you what, 90? Let's see. Yeah, 90 experience. And I believe there's a few of those on here. If you would like to know where all of them are, I'm sure somebody's got a list of all of the lore items for the fleet. And then lastly, if you see in the lower right hand corner of the fleet is a place called Strongholds and Crew Skills. Let's talk about strongholds. Strongholds are personal apartments for your characters. You have the ability to purchase your own stronghold. It does cost credits. The basic one, the least expensive one, is going to be Drum & Koss. And if you want to see what that looks like, I believe you are able to go into somebody's and look around and stuff like that. If you want to, we're not going to do that right now. But another big boost to your experience, just so you know before you get going on the next part of your journey, is that at level 15, you should come here, or I believe if you're on Imperial side, it'll be on Drum & Koss, and if it's on the Republic side, it'll be on Coruscant. But this dude standing here offers a quest at level 15 for you to get your own stronghold. And this can be done with every character. And no, you do not need to purchase a stronghold for every single character in order to complete this quest. I'm going to click on this because you can. It gives you a little 90 experience. But what you do is you click on him, you accept the quest. Then if you have not purchased your stronghold yet, you come over here and you buy, see I've already got a couple, but if I wanted to buy my own, I believe it's pretty minimal, pretty inexpensive for your first Drum & Koss apartment, pretty inexpensive. If you have already purchased your stronghold like I have, you can either go to the stronghold terminal here, or you just go up to your quest or your menu and hotkey U for strongholds, and then you just travel up to your stronghold. Being inside that stronghold and kind of running around for a little bit will update that quest, and it is actually quite a hefty boost of experience, especially if you do it right at level 15. So I highly recommend that you make sure to keep an eye out on your level to level 15 so that you don't miss out on that experience. Alright, that is all I've got for the fleet. Once you've done everything you think you can get done on the fleet, then you'll want to go up to the very top where the Drummond-Cross departures are. So come here to the Drummond-Cross departures, and then you have a choice between talking to this guy, picking up the quest, and doing the Black Talon, or heading left and heading straight to Drummond-Cross. Of course, I recommend definitely doing the Black Talon. It'll take you directly to Drummond-Cross after you finish the flashpoint, and it is a huge boost to experience, and it allows you to gain some blue pieces, upgraded blue pieces in return, and it is very, very easy to do alone on story mode with just your companion. Be on the lookout for my video on that, and otherwise, that is all I've got for you today. Thank you so much, and bye.